Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
Band from Ringside.
Tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast, we have your Cody Rhodes and The Rock fallout. New beginnings in New Japan gives us Will Ospreay's last match, and one of Okada's last matches. Darby Allin calls out the Young Bucks, and the Wolf Dogs are your new NXT Tag Champions. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast.
That motherfucker, I swear, I don't know how long Braun and Baron gonna hold it, but I want them to hold it for a while.
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Marks. Welcome to the Band from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Big Bronson Andy Reid. And sitting directly across from me, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
We are a part of the Beaver Nation. And on that lovely note, I'll ask the congregation to bow their heads as I read from the latest edition of the Band from Ringside podcast, volume 347. Chapter 3, verse 14, and the good smart saith, hashtag woo the heels, it's all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat, the holy trinity of BFR. Good to be back. Thanks for holding it down. Great episode. It made me feel like I was a person that just didn't know what the fuck was going on. You guys set a beautiful picture, especially with the press conference. I actually watched the press conference and then watched SmackDown. That's how good you guys did. So great job last week.
So you had not watched the press conference by the time you had listened to our podcast. Zach and I talk about it. We were pretty gushing about it.
Yeah. I was like, damn. I was like, okay, so I got to go at least watch this shit. So I went back and watched it. I was like, oh, okay. Never mind.
Cannot wait to hear Jason's thoughts about this. Two Beer Zach Poland is unable to be with us tonight due to some family issues. We will hold it down for him. We will see him next week. Vice will be joining us later. We're coming at you from beautiful St. Charles, Missouri, where it's been really nice and spring-like, and tomorrow it's supposed to snow. So whatever. There's your fucking weather report.
I'll say St. Louis ain't shit, boy.
So, like I said, Cody and The Rock thing, that was a huge thing that happened right before we went on the air last week. Like I said,
jealous.
As the biggest Great One fan that I know, Jason Cornelius Bell is here. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it. So,
without further ado,
fuck it. Let's get it started. Let's get to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
Jason, let's just start off right there, just because it was so fresh last week, and I want to hear what your thoughts are about the press conference, and then, just lead us into what happened this week, the fallout.
So I did, like I said, I watched the press conference or whatever, and it felt like a UFC big fight feel, and I think that's part of what makes this UFC WWE connection, partnership, whatever word you want to use. It feels like it's going to be something that's going to really captivate going forward, and this was a really good way to do it. Wasn't sure exactly how things were going to play out. I got the overview of the press conference listening to the pod last week, but I had to stop listening to it because I did want to have some sort of surprises going into it. Rock and Roman, apparently joining forces was a little weird to me, but apparently that's going to be a thing going forward because obviously Roman and The Rock will be on SmackDown tomorrow night. That should be very, very interesting to see where that goes. Just as a Rock fan, I'm curious to see how far he's going to lean into this heel Rock. Are we going to get Hollywood Rock back, which was one of my favorite iterations of The Rock as he came back? I want to hear that slow, grinding rock theme, very, more guitar than anything else. Is Cooking, I believe, is the name of the song. So if you want to go check it out, you can hear it for yourself. I'm still thinking it's going to be a Cody Roman WrestleMania match. Somewhere along the line, I think Rock gets in the ring. I can see a tag match, perhaps. That might be pushing Seth a little bit too much. Nobody really knows what his health is right now, what it would be going into Elimination Chamber if they decide to get cute and do a tag match in between. I don't think that they would do that. So ultimately, it would boil down to the WrestleMania Night 2. That would probably still be the main event of Night 2 unless something weird happens. From there, like I said, it's just really the build is going to be interesting. How involved is The Rock going to be? Is he going to be in the corner of Roman Reigns? Is he physically going to get involved? I would imagine he would. Is Seth going to be the Shield like he suggested to Cody? So the press conference itself was really entertaining, and like I said, to me, it felt like UFC, but with WWE guys playing UFC characters or whatever you want to call it. Go ahead.
I mean, I am on the record. Zach and I probably did half the show about it last week, but what was your reaction to the smack? What was your reaction to Cody getting bitch slapped by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
Well, I mean, my knee-jerk reaction was like, oh, you're not going to do anything back, but then Triple H got into the middle right away. And so you didn't want to give it away. But was I surprised? Yeah, surprised. I'm like, no, you motherfucker didn't. So now at this point, I'm kind of like, I want Cody to finish the story, but now The Rock's going to get involved. It's just, I don't know if this is the pivot of pivots like Zach was saying. It very well could be, because it looked like 2 or 3 weeks ago they had really fucked this up and was going to go Rock Roman until they got that Brian, you said it, the Daniel Bryan backlash or whatever, and now they've pivoted back and now kind of made Rock as a hateable character in this angle.
I just think that time is warping the way that some people are looking at this because it was so good. Pretty much universally loved. Like, people are a fan of this angle. People are invested in this. Tomorrow night, The Rock and Roman are going to be on SmackDown, and that shit is must see. Like, I cannot wait. Are they going to come out together? Whose music is going to play? How are they going to stand in the ring? Are they going to be in the ring together? Is Roman going to take a back seat? Do they come out to Roman's music because Roman's music is technically the Bloodline music? Is The Rock just part? Is The Rock just part of the Bloodline now? Is The Rock the leader of the Bloodline? I saw a thing on Twitter where it showed they
highlighted the two names, Rock and Roman, and it said head of the table under
High Chief, which it has Dwayne Johnson as a High Chief, which is over top of head of the table. I never thought that I would be this into a PowerPoint presentation. Turns out I am. Like I said last week, I was a fan of that when it happened.
It's so many ways you can go with this now, and that's what makes the angle to me interesting. Rock has made this angle even more interesting when you thought it couldn't be any more interesting. I said it when Cody won the Rumble. To me, Roman and Cody wrote itself. Adding The Rock to this shit is just, it's almost overkill, but I love it.
I want to know if you think it is a pivot, or do you think they planned for this?
No, this is a pivot. I would love to think that Triple H is that smart and had this going the whole way, but you take Brock out, you take Punk out, and now you have Seth's health in question. I would love to think that this was the way they were going to go.
But do you think do you think that this is a pivot from The Rock
versus Roman, at
SmackDown, face to face? You think they pivoted? You think they saw the reaction of that and they were like, we got to do something different?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I'll go this far. If they went Rock Roman, it would have been a very slow plotting, old school 80 match, headlocks, rest holds, nothing that we're used to seeing for modern day WWE. Cody's not going to bring that. Cody's going to bring a modern-day wrestling style versus Roman's old school plotting, but then he'll pick it up when he has to pick it up. That's probably what, at least in my mind, would be the best of both worlds and the better match of the two.
I might surprise you here.
Okay.
And I'm going to do some bad podcasting. And the bad podcasting is, I agree 100%. And this is kind of where I was going when I say I think that the week has warped the way that people are thinking about this. They're like, oh, this is just a genius move by WWE. No, they But like Zach and I said last week, they pivoted, but they did it in the best way possible.
Yeah.
They did it immediately, and they did it in such an interesting way, and really it makes the build even that much more exciting because, okay, so it's not set in stone. So now if something's not set in stone, it's not going to be Vince changing something at the last minute. They're going to change it immediately and try to make the best possible decision next.
Right.
And then pivot from there, which really, like we said, it just opens up all sorts of shit. What did you think about the segment on Raw between Cody and Seth?
It's interesting to see Seth coming back, I guess, I won't say full circle, but do a 180 with Cody now. He's ready to, take responsibility of how Roman is, reacting to this point and wants to help out because he said it. We all know what's going to happen. Somebody's going to interfere. So somebody's going to you can't do it by yourself. You tried it last year. The whole Seth Rollins promo, perfect, on the money. You couldn't have asked for anything more because he said everything that people have thought and said throughout this Roman run, whether you liked him or not. I'm a huge fan of the Roman run, but it has been chock full of fuckery from the start to the finish, and it will be at WrestleMania. I'm just not sure how you get Seth in a position where he's going to wrestle one night and then be the quote-unquote Shield the following night.
I think I know a way.
Do tell.
And there is a huge part of this that is being forgotten, and it's not the most exciting thing, but I feel like Damian Priest has been pushed to the back.
Not really.
Can have Drew McIntyre win the Elimination Chamber, which makes him the number one contender for the championship.
Correct.
And have Damian Priest
Cash in.
And then you have, would you have a babyface Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre? Would you have a heel Damian Priest versus Randy Orton? Because the only two winners that I can see winning that Elimination Chamber are those two, Drew McIntyre or Randy Orton.
Well, I guess when you're saying Priest cashes in, I'm assuming you're talking about at WrestleMania, correct?
Or before.
Well, my thought on the Damian Priest is the quote-unquote forgotten guy, but he's really not. He's just, they're putting him to the side. They're making us try to forget about him, but obviously...
But it's a nice little, if we're talking about them pivoting and being quick on their feet, then Damian Priest is a nice little fucking Swiss Army knife that they have in their back pocket.
Without
because
question.
if they want to pivot to a Rock versus Seth match Saturday night, not for a title, but as the main event, they could have Damian Priest as champ face somebody else at WrestleMania for an earlier, like a semi-main event.
I think Seth's going in as champion. Whoever wins the Elimination Chamber obviously will be the opponent. I like Drew. It makes, that makes storyline sense. That match is where I expect the Damian Priest cash in. Now, whether he does it successfully or not, I'm not willing to go that far, but Priest has obviously ties with both Seth and Drew McIntyre. It's just time for him to cash in. I mean, what the fuck? We've waited long enough. We're getting ready to have another Money in the Bank by the time WrestleMania comes around, in a couple months after that shit. So, yes.
So who is in the Elimination Chamber as we sit here right now? AJ Styles, Randy Orton.
No. I was about to say AJ's out.
That's right.
He lost to Drew McIntyre. So
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre's in, Randy Orton is in, LA Knight is in, and Bobby Lashley's in. So you got 4 of the 6 spots already taken.
And then the last 2 qualifying matches are Dom versus KO.
Correct.
And Logan Paul versus The Miz.
Correct.
Who do you see winning those matches?
Logan Paul, I think, goes over The Miz. I think it's impossible for you not to have Logan Paul as a special attraction in a special attraction match. And then as much as I love Dom, I'm a Dom guy. It's hard for me not to see KO in that spot. It's for the World Heavyweight Championship, and Dom's just not in that World Heavyweight, upper echelon just yet.
It's
so I would
either
say those
both
two.
KO and Logan Paul or neither of them. That's what I think. I could see the Dom and the Miz being in there. I could see Dom getting over as a babyface in Australia just because they don't see him and because he's aligned with Rhea Ripley, their hometown hero. I think Dom in the Elimination Chamber would be so much fun.
Oh, no question. I think it would be, even if they weren't on his
chicken
team,
shit ass just staying in the pod.
Even if they weren't on his team, I could totally see motherfuckers booing the shit out of him. And like you said, he would be in no rush. He would be real talkative until he got to Australia and then got into the chamber. Was like, oh shit, I'm just fucked up. And he'd be the last one to be trying to get into anything like that. Dom would be a nice little comic twist to this Elimination Chamber. I'm just going to stick to chalk on this one. It just makes, for me, it makes a little too much sense.
And then you have Logan Paul and KO continue their thing so that they have a match at WrestleMania.
If they wanted to go that route,
or
LA Knight is in that. So that's what I'm saying. You would have options for your U.S. title match at WrestleMania. You got two guys.
I could also see a U.S. title match being a fatal four-way or something like that at WrestleMania. AJ
Styles is going to be needs a dance partner if LA Knight isn't dancing with Logan Paul.
I mean, Orton's hanging out there too.
So, I mean, Jesus Christ almighty. God bless Triple H. You got an embarrassment of riches, and it sounds like a hard problem to have, but I got the sneaky suspicion by the time the
What about Orton versus Cena?
Why?
Have you heard that rumor?
I haven't. I'm not sure if I want to see it at this point. You know,
I don't mind it if it's not the main event.
If you're doing it just to, be like, we just got this old school just beef, we're old rivals, let's just do it one more time type shit,
They should make up a new belt.
Oh, no.
And have those guys wrestle for the belt. Or how about those two guys versus Hook or some shit, right? Just triple threat match?
No. I say we are good on belts with WWE.
Very exciting. As you can tell, if you listened last week and you're listening this week, I mean, you can tell I'm excited about this.
No, it's a lot of options to play with, and The Rock just like you said, he's maybe not be the Swiss Army knife, but he's probably the most intriguing of all the players in it because you just don't know what they're going to do with him.
I know I'm all over the place, but getting back to that Cody Seth segment, I mean, Seth coming out and basically pledging his loyalty to Cody Rhodes in all of this is, man, that seems like a setup for a tag match.
That's what I would. If Roman was a quote unquote regular wrestling champion, to me that screams tag match, Elimination Chamber, easy match to make.
It's not Elimination Chamber though, because they've already announced that the Grayson Waller effect will be at the Elimination Chamber in Perth, where Grayson Waller he's Australian. With Cody and Seth as his guests. That is going to be a huge angle. Something is happening there.
That angle. So, okay, see, I'm just now tripping off that. Solo, Jimmy, obviously, I think would be in play. If you wanted to have The Rock down there, I think that would be a stretch. But, yeah, I would assume that
he ain't flying down there.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, I would assume at least Solo and Jimmy would attack Cody and Seth at that point.
That's a long fucking plane ride, man.
Hey, man, look. I say, act like The Rock can't get a fucking G4 on a drop of a dime.
What's a G4?
It's a private jet. You remember Tropic Thunder?
Yeah, I remember Tropic Thunder. I was just thinking about Tropic Thunder. Oh, because I saw it. It just came up on Amazon. I was like, I haven't seen that movie in a while. Yeah,
Great
okay, G4. Movie. Well, then what's that rap song, like a G6? What's that about?
I'm assuming it's the same thing. It's just,
a bigger plane? That's the one that The Rock has.
If Pat McAfee can get from ESPN to SmackDown or Raw, it's Raw now. If he can get there, in a single day, The Rock can get there. He can have his own private plane.
Have you seen Black Adam?
I have not.
I mean, how bad did it shit the bed? Because people are really talking about it really shitting the bed. Was it that bad of a movie, or did it just perform that well, or is it both?
Like I said, I haven't seen it, but just on raw numbers alone, it's the worst DC movie in just gross numbers, how much they made, yada, yada, yada. Apparently, it was that bad. Now, from that point, it didn't have... I'm not a DC guy to begin with. I'm a Marvel guy, so I wasn't like on a rush to go see it. And then I heard how bad it was. I was like, I'm damn sure not gonna go see that shit. I mean, I'm not a guy that wants to see my favorites do poorly. If I watch it, I watch it.
That's why you didn't watch Brock versus Omos, because you did not want to see Omos lose. You're like, I can't watch it.
Damn it!
I can't see my heroes laid low. By the way, where was Omos on TV this week?
That's not saying you know where he was.
Motherfucker came back from the Royal Rumble, hadn't been seen yet.
Okay, well, like I said, Omos looked good, physically looked good. It's just, what do you do with him at this point? No, he did, without question.
Another guy that we've forgotten about for WrestleMania, they're doing this thing with Sami Zayn where Sami Zayn is doing these empty arena interviews with Jackie Redmond, and Shinsuke shows up on the Titantron to just them two, just to talk shit to them two, I guess. Not in front of a crowd. They're clearly telling a story with Sami, too, another forgotten guy. What's his WrestleMania match?
That is a really good question. He's going to have one. I can't see it right now. To me, this is, I think, the bigger picture. It's going to be a redemption arc story. A year from now, we should be talking about Sami challenging for one of the two titles, and I think that's ultimately, in my head, where this is going to go. You teased it in Montreal. People want to see it. You're going to have to give them the story to really get behind Sami. Cody is probably beating Roman if they're going to do a WrestleMania match. That's probably the good time to pull the trigger. You waited long enough. Now, from that point, you're going to have, another intriguing story to keep us, going forward. Sami Zayn is starting to become that story for the fact that now he's questioning his own abilities. He can do it. You got Cody coming up. Hey, man, we believe in you. Sami, a year from now, should be the next guy we should be pushing behind to be a world heavyweight champion.
And while Sami is not at the heat level that he was at last year around this time, he has not cooled off that much. Yeah. He's way over still. People still want to see him fight. People still want to see, he needs a big match at WrestleMania.
If Drew doesn't win Elimination Chamber, that's his WrestleMania
Sami Drew
match.
Would be cool with me just as a
special attraction match or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Nothing on the line, no belts or anything, but just a grudge match between those two.
Yeah.
Fucking give it to me.
Yeah, because
give him 20, 23 minutes.
They have
awesome.
history. Sami really hasn't gotten his receipt from Drew putting him out before the Royal Rumble. They really didn't have a chance to get too entangled in the Rumble itself, and then Drew beat him, post Royal Rumble. So if you wanted to do that route, you can do that route. Plenty of options.
Drew is doing crazy good work as the righteous heel. What did he say the other night? He said, "You just better hope I don't pray for you."
Yeah, I was like, oh.
That is good.
Oh.
That is good. A callback to him saying that he prayed for this when he hurt CM Punk.
Which is shit,
man,
boy. I was like,
tremendous stuff. Has the top of the card in the men's division in WWE. I know that it's never been this good since we started the podcast, right?
Probably fair. Probably a very fair assessment.
When's the last time the top of the card was this good? Like Angle, Jericho, Rock, Triple H, Austin, like 2001?
I'm sorry, Jericho. The Attitude Era, whatever you want to call it.
The end of it.
Yeah, I was going to say that feels like when you really just had 4 or 5 guys really at the top of the card. Jericho is like double champion at that point. He beat Rock and the Stone Cold same night.
LA Knight super over right now too. Sorry, go ahead.
No, Triple H same thing. So you really got
Angle and Undertaker and fucking Jericho, Benoit, Eddie Guerrero. The top of the card was fucking loaded.
And you probably got some more guys coming over at some point in 2024. Right now, this Elimination Chamber is really the more top guys, and top guys we just don't see a lot of.
Two top guys we haven't even mentioned yet, Jey Uso and Gunther are headed towards each other. I don't think that's happening at Elimination Chamber.
No, I think it's next Monday night, if I'm not mistaken, on Raw.
That motherfucking shit's on Raw. Give that shit to me. That's another card they can play if they feel like pulling the trigger on Gunther or something. Because how would you feel about Jey taking the Intercontinental Championship off of Gunther?
I wouldn't have it. I would rather be somebody that is up and coming. I think Jey is already on the ascent, but he does need a singles championship if there's any plans for him to be a world heavyweight champion somewhere down the line. It wouldn't make any bit of difference to me if he won it. I wouldn't be mad. It makes somewhat sense. I said when he was number one in the Rumble, there's big plans for Jey Uso. This might be a way
You wouldn't hate it, though.
It's either
you wouldn't be mad at it.
It's either he wins the Intercontinental Championship or Jimmy costs him the match to set up more so of their WrestleMania match.
Massive. I mean, massive. If they have Jimmy versus Jey also at this WrestleMania,
I don't think how can you not at this point?
I mean, massive shit.
Yeah, at this point, Jey needs to be on the card. Jey is
no
one
doubt.
of their
in a singles match.
He is on the rise as a singles star. I don't care what night you put him on. To me, this is a layup. You just got to figure out how you get in there. Jimmy and Jey need to be a singles match at WrestleMania.
Does Bobby Lashley, who was famously left off the card last year because he was supposed to get in a thing with Bray Wyatt, that didn't work out. Bobby Lashley ended up winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is Bobby Lashley going to get left off the card again?
If I had to guess, my guess is unfortunately yes. I just don't see a clear path for a WrestleMania match right now. Final Testament is the team that's there, but I don't think
that could be a 6-man.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to. It'll be like a 6-man kickoff match, and I don't think that feud goes that long. That's a 2-month wait between now and WrestleMania. I don't think it.
Who
goes
is the
that
person that sits across from Bobby Lashley in 2024 and says, "Sorry, bro, you're not on this WrestleMania either"? Because
Triple H.
It's got to be. Because Bobby Lashley was pissed last year.
Rightfully so. I mean,
we've still never gotten the full story on what happened.
No, and I don't think we ever will. Once Brock turned it down, it fell into Bobby's lap, and clearly that didn't work either. So it almost feels like you owe Bobby, but I don't want to see Bobby in a match where you feel like you have to have him on the card. I want it to make sense. Bobby Lashley should have been a match that should have happened a long time ago. They had never wrestled for the title. In this Roman,
they had a big feud though a while back, right?
Yeah, but I mean, this was more.
Lashley's
Lashley. That was Brock and Lashley, and Roman got involved, and that set up the Roman.
I think I saw Brock versus Lashley in St. Louis at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
No, because Brock was in the Rumble that year.
They were here. It was early too. It was Brock and Lashley when Lashley was the champ. It was a match that was here. I can't remember what it was, but it was a pay-per-view. Doesn't matter. My point is Roman Lashley in this 1,000-day stretch, they've never wrestled for the title. Option there is probably it's the longest of the longest stretches. So that's what I'm saying. I don't see him winning in the Elimination Chamber, and then from that point, it will be Final Testament, and then before you know it, WrestleMania will be here. I want to see him on the card. I just don't see how he gets on the card.
What about Lashley, Braun Breaker? Would you be cool with that? I'm just throwing shit out there. No. Sorry, I'm a journalist. I'm starting that rumor right now. I'm going to see if I can influence it a little bit. Can I be the butterfly and the butterfly effect to get Lashley on the card versus Braun Breaker?
I wouldn't mind seeing it just because it's two physical specimens. I don't want to see Lashley lose at WrestleMania. I mean,
he could beat Braun Breaker at WrestleMania.
It wouldn't be. It's not going to be the first Braun Breaker WrestleMania. The only Braun Breaker WrestleMania. Better choice.
That would not. Pardon the pun. That would not break Braun Breaker
at all. It would be a nice little spotlight on him. it would be a match to get Bobby.
And then he can come out of WrestleMania just like, then they can kind of strap the rocket pack to him and see what he can do. You know, him versus Jey Uso or something.
I like the Gunther Braun Breaker idea because obviously Braun is on the cusp of which brand he's going to sign. If he goes to Raw, I would. If Jay doesn't do it, Braun Breaker would definitely be a person that I would love to see beat Gunther because that would be a huge rub.
What about they bring back Braun Strowman and they put Braun Strowman and Braun Breaker in a tag team together and they call them Swerve in Our Glory. What do you think about that? They call them the Bronze, I guess.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say you're missing the easy.
They should call them LeBron.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say it's right there. Why are you making it more difficult than it is, man? Just tap
LeBrons.
it in. Tap it in. Tap it in. So, yeah, it's the LeBrons at that point. No, the Braun Strowman is good for a little bit. He just needs to just take some time off, man. I ain't mad at it for it. Fuck it. Keep fucking Raquel Rodriguez.
Something else, some other people that we haven't talked about. We've talked about a lot of names in WWE. We have not yet talked about the Judgment Day. We talked about Damian Priest a little bit, but Finn Balor and Damian Priest are currently your tag team champions, your number one contenders. Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, British strong style, I think, is what they are calling themselves, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think about them being number one contenders? And did you like the match versus DIY?
Yeah, I mean, DIY and Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne are just going to have a good match. It's just four guys that can wrestle, and they're both good tag teams on their own. You put them together, you're going to have a good tag team match. Unfortunately, DIY already lost the Judgment Day, so I kind of had a good idea where they were going with it. Plus, you got Tyler and Pete Dunne back together. It would have been kind of foolish not to have them in the number one contender spot. Now, ultimately, the question is, can they beat the Judgment Day? Can they? Yeah. Will they? I don't think so, question mark. I just don't think they're not together long enough to, justify them being the champions this quickly. If it happens, then yeah, now you're really going to have the Damian Priest rumors start to heat up. I think Triple H is trying to keep Priest in the weeds long enough to where we're forgetting about him until it comes up to where now it benefits Damian Priest and the Triple H story if he's going to cash in at WrestleMania.
Sorry, there was something. Are we leading to, I saw a friend of yours and a friend of mine and a friend of the show. You might know him as Tender Mahal.
My nigga. Saw Monday night.
Saw him Sunday night at the Super Bowl party. I was telling him at the Super Bowl party, we're leading towards a Triple H Rock confrontation in the ring. Triple H came out on SmackDown, reasserted his authority after The Rock kind of, didn't make him look great, kind of big-timed him.
You
backstage,
fix it or I will?
You fix it or I will, is what he said.
I was like, oh, shit.
And then Triple H comes out. A lot of people think they have the power. They don't have the power. He said, I have the power. Triple H is a firm, strong, but gentle, what do they call him? CCO, Chief Content Operator or Chief Content Officer or something is what they're calling him. So, but Triple H and Rock, to say they have a history is an understatement. They were rivals. They were as big of rivals. They probably have more matches than The Rock and Stone Cold do, don't you think?
The ladder match between Rock and Triple H was one of the better.
Well, they were both healthy at the same time, the whole time. Stone Cold wasn't always that healthy post the neck break. So, I mean, he came back and wrestled full time, but he was out for a while, and Triple H and The Rock were running things there for a while.
Oh, for sure. And that's where they kind of passed the titles back and forth between them for a little bit. If Stone Cold isn't the biggest Rock rival, if you don't think he is, then Triple H is the next one, and that's fine too.
Yes.
Chandra said something to me about it. I don't think they physically wrestle.
No.
I can see them, on the mic in the ring, fuck you, fuck
like
you.
A promo segment as we get closer to WrestleMania between Triple H. Fuck, it might happen tomorrow night. I mean, Triple H and The Rock might both be out there tomorrow night. What I want to see in a fucking perfect world We would have a promo segment where it's just Triple H and The Rock.
I think we could easily see that happening.
That is
somewhere in this next month. Yeah, I was about to say, easy, big fella, easy. I could easily see that in the next month because that would be a legitimate, reasonable, sensible build towards WrestleMania post Elimination Chamber. If everything's set in stone, you have Seth with his opponent. Now Cody and Roman are locked in. I can see the two guys, the two heads of the table, so to speak, locking horns and having a promo battle. I would love to see it.
If we pivot to the women's top of the card for WWE, we have something interesting going on with Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax. Nia Jax is done a great job. She's kind of like the Lexus King of the women's division. Like, everybody fucking hates her. She has real fucking heat. People fucking hate her. And when I say people, I mean me.
Him and Bill. I don't hate Nia Jax.
Right. No, I mean, listen, I don't hate her for real. I think that, but she's not like a cool heel. She is a fucking heel.
She's easily hateable as a heel.
Rhea Ripley is a heel. Rhea Ripley is a cool heel.
Yeah.
Nia Jax is an uncool heel.
Yeah, without question.
But it's not X-Pac heat.
No,
but
not even close. Well, I shouldn't say not even close. She does have some heat.
We're going to see Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch, though, at WrestleMania, right? Becky Lynch is walking out of the Elimination Chamber with the title challenge. What the fuck?
Bianca is obviously going to be in this mix. I mean, that's the next obvious choice. From there, it's just I can't see anybody else that Rhea. I mean, we can throw Jade out there. I've heard rumors that they pulled the Jade from consideration for the Elimination Chamber. So take that for what it's worth. I guess I got another one in the bag. So I guess that's where you have this last chance match where you have, the last spot for the Elimination Chamber up for grabs. That's a little disappointing, but neither here nor there. It's either Becky or Bianca. If it's not Bianca, I'll be curious to see if that's where you get Jade into the mix and have a one-on-one match. I think, obviously, we saw that at not Elimination Chambers. I'm getting my PLEs mixed up. Royal Rumble, we saw them, in a couple of spots where clearly they're teasing a Bianca Jade match. When it happens, I'm not sure. WrestleMania would be a good spot. Is the stage too big for Jade at that point?
They are not even mentioning Bianca Belair in the Rhea Ripley conversation, though.
It doesn't feel like it, and that's where I've heard people like her and Trinity are going to tag up and take the tag titles. I don't want to see that. That doesn't appeal to me. Trinity shouldn't be coming back for the tag titles. I mean, we've done that. That's the whole reason why she left. Why are we going to hook her back into that? Bianca is someone that I'm curious to see where they go with. Becky feels like the one, because you don't have her come out and confront Rhea Ripley in Vegas for nothing. You just don't do that. That doesn't even make sense,
right,
unless you want to have that match.
Right.
From there, like I said, Bianca is very curious because I'm just not sure where you go with her, because now both titles are now being claimed in some form or fashion, but you can't leave her off the card.
Is Dakota Kai faking out Bayley?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Dakota Kai is sticking with Damage Control. It is going to be. I appreciate the fact that they didn't turn her this week, I guess.
No, I want them to drag this out. I want
tell the story.
I want them to tell this story where Bayley is being suckered in, and then the next thing you know, boom, Damage Control turns on Bayley in some form or fashion. I wouldn't be mad if they waited to WrestleMania and pulled the trigger then.
You're asking for a lot of patience there, though.
I said, well, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen. Then I wouldn't be mad at it. There's ways around it.
The women's champions walking out of WrestleMania are going to be Rhea Ripley and Bayley.
Rhea Ripley, I feel pretty confident about, no matter who is the champion. Bayley, I'm not so confident about because now I've kind of talked myself into Dakota Kai turning on Bayley at WrestleMania.
If Jey Uso doesn't end up beating Gunther, who does Gunther face at WrestleMania?
That's where I think Braun Breaker is the next. Is a logical way to go about it. It's someone that, like I said, that
NXT Tag Team Champion Braun Breaker.
Not saying that he would. There's plenty of time for him to drop the title. He could drop the title at Stand and Deliver and then come back and win the IC title at WrestleMania. It's asking a lot, but I don't even think they go that far with them being the tag champs, the Wolf Dogs in that scenario. Braun Breaker's, I'll answer the question with Braun Breaker. I'll go that far.
There's another guy who's super over. Ron Killings. R-Truth. Super over. Just unbelievably over. They are, it is astounding how hot they are right now.
When R-Truth,
they are so fucking hot right now.
When R-Truth was the 24/7 champion, and we were obviously doing the pie at that point, that to me was like one of the lowest parts of WWE in its comedic form. It was just, mundane, too formatic, just hard to watch. This shit is absolute gold. When he confused DIY for DX, I was done. Man, I was calling Miz like, "Hey, get on your plane, get up here." Like, no, you're fucked right now. What you gonna do?
Man, him calling them DX and he said Shawn Michaels the Heartbreak Kid and Triple H, and he had Gargano as Shawn Michaels, and he had Ciampa as Triple H.
Oh, dude, I was dead.
And he goes, "Where's Road Dogg at?"
Man, that motherfucker has been gold. So good.
Where's Road Dogg at?
So good. I never thought I would be.
But when he came out the other night, the place went fucking apeshit. People have always been a fan of R-Truth. Always.
Yes,
even when it is different. It is a rising tide floats all boats type shit. Like, everything is so over right now that R-Truth is over.
I think R-Truth was over just when he came back.
I think they have a bunch of new fans who have never seen him before, and they're like, this motherfucker is hilarious.
Everything he's done, every position they put him in, he's made it work. The Judgment Day run has really just catapulted him into another stratosphere.
I loved when he had those 2 title matches against John Cena. When he won, he was fighting John Cena in London, or he turned on John Cena in London and started smoking a cigarette at the side of the ring. Oh my God, that was so cool. But
forget how good R-Truth is from time to time.
He was a heel. He was like a good heel.
Him and Miz had that nice little heel run where they were beating everybody up. They ripped up the fucking ring and shit. I was like, what the fuck?
Awesome Truth. Fucking like, Keith Lee ass tag team name.
Stop.
Awesome Truth.
All bullshit aside, they might be the team to beat the Judgment Day and be tag team champs.
You know what? That might be right. He might be right.
Miz is not going to win that Elimination Chamber match, and they got beef with Judgment Day.
Yeah, Miz is definitely not going to win that match.
I don't see a reason why.
There's a less than 0% chance he's going to win that match.
So for me, now you've opened up a door where if you wanted to take the titles off of Priest and Finn before WrestleMania and open the door for him to cash in, that's the team that could do it.
All right. So the first half of the podcast, once again, 2 weeks in a row, just sucking WWE's dick.
I got the balls this week.
Let's get to that 2 count.
1, 2, 3.
Here, I'm going to do my 2-beer impression. 2-beer, this is a loving impression, so don't be mad. Rampage was actually really good this week.
It was worth watching.
Rampage was pretty okay. I really liked the Young Bucks promo in the middle of it. That was the bread and butter. The Young Bucks continuing to wear the white suits with blood on them is fucking good.
No, it reminds you of the Dastardly Deed, number 1, and number 2. definitely keeps them as the heel EVPs that they're trying to go for. Love it. At some point, they'll get away from it. I'm assuming after the Sting Darby match. But no, this is good. I like heel Bucks are the best Bucks.
Yeah, the Undisputed Kingdom also fought the Best Friends. Undisputed Kingdom goes over. Or was that a singles match?
It was a 6-man tag.
Cassidy, that's right.
Cassidy, Rocky, and Trent lost to Roddy and the Kingdom.
I'm just dying for a Trent Beretta heel turn.
Dude,
I
thought it was going to happen this on Wednesday. I was like, shit.
It seems like they pulled back on it. It doesn't seem like they're hinting at it.
No, I totally disagree with that. When we get to Dynamite, we could talk. Well, let's just talk about it now. The end of Dynamite, Trent takes the bullet for Orange, so Orange basically wins the match. Shit like that is usually a precursor for the heel turn. You know, Trent's been basically pushed to the side. You know, it looks like he's on the outside looking in more times than not.
That kind of take, it can only come with the expertise of watching millions of hours of wrestling per year. But you're right.
It's always felt like it's going to happen. And it's almost Carmelo Hayes-ish when, Trent walks behind Orange. I'm like, is this it? Is this it? So now I'm watching for it. It may never even happen. But if it does, you can see where they're planting the seeds on why Trent ultimately turns if he does.
So we will come back to that Orange Cassidy Matt Taven match because I do have thoughts about it. Dynamite kicked off with with the Blackpool Combat Club versus those Luchas. It's such a sign of disrespect. I did not write down the Luchas' names who fought in this match.
Star Jr. and Estinge, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah, pretty good match. Blackpool Combat Club goes over kind of easily, which I'm completely fine with. FTR comes out setting up a Blackpool Combat Club FTR feud. What do you think about this? It looks like they're going to have this match next week on Dynamite.
They are, after the Moxley Dax Hardwood match that opened up Dynamite on Wednesday night. I'm down for it. I didn't think I would, it's a match that I didn't think I know I wanted until you threw it in my lap. I was like, oh, why not? Shit. FTR needs something to do, especially as a tag team. If they're not chasing the titles, then you got to have them doing something, keep them in the now that we have the rankings back. You got to keep them, strong in the rankings. This is a good way to do it. Plus, the match is going to be fucking dope. So, yeah, I'm totally down for this shit.
Yeah, that's the type of match that they'll give 30 minutes to.
Yeah, easily. I can see Dynamite, open it up with this shit or be in the main event. It's a bookend, one or the other.
To me, Daniel Garcia is, next to Swerve, is the hottest guy in AEW. I think that they're, when I say they, I mean TK, right, giving him tons of TV time. The only person who fights more matches than Daniel Garcia is Queen Aminata. Daniel Garcia had a really fucking, I'm starting to, you know what? Let me just say it to you right now. I'm looking you dead in the eye.
Say it.
You were right about Shane Taylor. Shane Taylor's fucking cool. I like watching him wrestle. I like his style. You've always said you're a Shane Taylor guy. Shane Taylor and Daniel Garcia had a fucking really fun match.
Yeah, just, seeing the match, I was like, fuck, Shane's getting ready to lose. But it was a good match. I was just,
it would be nice to see him start getting some wins.
I think if you watched ROH.
Against somebody besides Keith Lee.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, he even lost to Keith Lee, so, I mean, that made it even worse.
Didn't they split? Didn't they have two matches? They only had one match and he lost?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that was right before Keith Lee was taken off the card where he had to face Swerve, and then Swerve faced Dustin Rhodes or whatever.
They had Keith Lee go over Shane Taylor to build up Keith Lee so he could lose in 6 minutes to Swerve.
Right. So, ultimately, it's like, that was the time to do it.
Cokehead booking.
Didn't do it, and now Shane Taylor is, in this, mode of losing or whatever you want to call it. Neither here nor there.
Cokehead booking.
I've always been a fan of Shane Taylor. Like I said, I just kind of wish that ROH was on a bigger platform where now if you wanted to move Shane Taylor back to ROH and have him, run roughshod over that, great way to do it.
But, watching him versus Moxley live that week that I went to Collision with Vice, when you have to actually sit and watch Shane Taylor, it was something about seeing it live where I was like, Oh, I see exactly what this dude's doing, like, and he's good at, like, in terms of, like, telling the story. He's not just a big guy out there bumping. No. Like, he does shit.
No, he does, because it's just, like I said, AEW is loaded in its own way, where now, guys like Miro, I saw him on the commercial for a Collision. I'm like, damn, where the fuck has he been, Guys like Miro are not going to, really get a huge chance for whatever reason. Shane Taylor, same way. Yeah, right. So it's kind of disappointing to see, but then, it makes sense, unfortunately. Daniel Garcia is on the rise, and I get it. I just wish for this scenario these two wouldn't have met right here, right now.
Eddie Kingston cuts a promo backstage. I wrote down EK and then BS, which means backstage, but that also describes his promo style, which is just fucking BS. What I did like was Eddie Kingston bringing up how he thought it was wrong what the Bucks did to Sting and his family. It's like, okay, you know what? This is what the Attitude Era always did well. I can't remember if it's you that says this or Zach.
Zach did it.
But the Attitude Era always did well is that everything seemed connected. Yep. It's like everybody knew that they were on the same show. You know what I mean? And Eddie Kingston being like, man, fuck you for beating up Sting and his kids. That's what a babyface should do, and I really appreciated that. As much fun as I like to have with Eddie Kingston, he does a lot of the little shit right.
No, it was like, before I even get started on anything else, let me talk about this first. I was like, oh, shit, good on Eddie. But that just feels like Eddie Kingston's character. There's a right and wrong code. No matter if he's heel or babyface, this is what he believes in. This is the code. And fuck you if you, go against this code. Clearly the Bucks went against the code, so fuck off. The whole thing with Danielson was even interesting just in the sense that, now we're getting to the point where Danielson is now getting underneath Eddie Kingston's skin to where now he's like, okay, fuck it. We can have a match, but you're going to shake my hand afterwards if I win. That's the shit I want to see.
Yes, I'm into this. This is good shit. Eddie Kingston, if the only stipulation to the match is if Eddie Kingston wins, Bryan Danielson has to shake his hand. And that will mean everything to Eddie Kingston because he knows that Daniel Bryan doesn't mean it.
Oh,
that's good. That's really good.
I was hoping for Eddie to win. Now I want to see this shit.
If Daniel Bryan wasn't out there just having matches with everybody they wants to have matches with, wrestling Okada at Wrestle Kingdom, wrestling Zack Sabre Jr. last weekend, which we will get to. That Hechicero match, which you didn't get to talk about last week, but it fucking ruled. If he wasn't out there doing that shit, then him wasting one of his, if he really is going to be done in 6 months or whatever, I would be like, man, I like seeing him fight Eddie Kingston. It's going to be great, but I would rather see him fight somebody else. He's getting all that shit out of the way, too. Mm-hmm. The guy is on fire right now, just on absolute fire.
This feels like the bucket list of Bryan Danielson at this point.
This is like when Tarantino says he wants to stop after 10 movies because he knows that directors start getting worse, and he's like, I want to go out when I'm still making the best shit possible. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was the best shit possible.
That was really good.
That's how Daniel Bryan feels. It feels like he is going out wrestling the best shit that he's ever wrestled, and that is in a career full of fucking crazy good wrestling.
From ROH to WWE to AEW, you could just name matches on all three spots. This is an amazing run so far. I don't know how the fuck you cap this Joker off. That to me is, how does it end? Who is the final match for Danielson after all this nonsense?
Well, him versus Eddie Kingston is a really good undercard match for Revolution.
Oh, yeah.
And they are going to, and they're going to let rip. They're going to fucking cook.
No, that's what they say. It's going to be a 4-hour show. They're going to get 20, 25 minutes of that 4 hours.
4 hours? God, I hope so.
No, slowly but surely, I'm getting into the Revolution card. I wasn't into it right away, but
AEW pay-per-views end when Tony Khan's Adderall runs out.
Stop.
I'm coming down. You guys can finish it. You guys can wrap it up.
You ain't shit. Damn. That motherfucker said with the Adderall, man. Look, I was like, I don't know if he's getting the
It's a
good
hell of a
shit.
drug.
If he's getting the good shit, he ain't coming down anytime soon. He gonna be rolling that motherfucker into the press conference.
Brian Cage squashes the Outrunners. I hope those guys are getting paid.
You would think, right?
Okay, so Edge versus Daniel Garcia. I'm in a good mood tonight. I must be in a good mood because I am sucking everything's dick. But Edge versus Daniel Garcia, pretty good. Lasts about 11 minutes. Daniel Garcia is cool. Edge is kind of playing a little heelish, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This gets interrupted by the patriarchy. Nick Wayne and wait, doesn't it?
No, that you're. If we're talking,
no. I'm sorry. This wasn't the match. Okay, this was when they came out and just talked to each other
and agreed to make the match.
Yes, and Edge said, "But now that you've challenged me, I'm going to beat the hell out of you because you're trying to take money out. You're trying to take food out of my kid's mouth." Great shit.
All right, motherfucker.
Yes.
Bet. I was like, okay, bet, motherfucker. They gonna see you gonna whoop that ass. No,
Yes.
he ain't gonna win. But no, that's how when you. The setup was a little confusing because now it just felt like,
Well, they're both number one contenders.
I'm not even talking about that. Now Edge is 3. Adam Copeland is 3, and now you have the choice of who you want.
Man, that man's name is Edge. I'm not calling him Adam Copeland. What the fuck are we talking about?
I'm trying to be respectful to the motherfucker. Shit.
I think I am too.
Okay, so you can call him Edge. Anyway, I just didn't like.
Vince don't own his name.
Yeah, right.
Not to me.
Yeah.
I don't call him PLEs. Pay-per-views.
Yeah, right.
To the day I die.
Hey, man. I didn't necessarily like the fact that Edge was given the option of who do you want. It shouldn't even be given the option. That's why you have somebody behind the scenes. This is the match we're going to make. But it sets up Daniel Garcia to come up, and they have the match. I like the promo. Daniel Garcia makes a great point. He was, 6 months ago, he was just losing matches left and right, and now he's on a run. He feels like
they told the story with his losses.
Yeah, he feels like now he's on a high streak. He deserves the title match just as much so as Adam Copeland does. So
let's skip ahead to their match, which happened on Dynamite because I already spoiled it. So this goes about 11 minutes, and then it gets interrupted by Nick Wayne and Killswitch, Luchasaurus. And I'm so used to having AEW is really good about clean finishes, even in matches between two guys that probably both need wins. They really don't do the fuckery in the middle of the show. They'll do it at the end, but they won't do it in the middle. I was surprised by the interference in this match, like genuinely surprised. It's like, why didn't I know that this was going to happen? The patriarchy comes in. Nick Wayne is wearing a shirt that says "Christian is my father." Dude. Somebody get me that shirt.
I'm like, man, this is great.
And give Edge Concerto. Concertos get sold. This seems like a way of writing Edge out of Revolution.
I agree with you 100% on you should have seen the patriarchy coming. Two guys that obviously is on Christian's radar, so you can take him out in one fell swoop. So the fact that I didn't see it coming just definitely bothers me. But I love the fact that they did it. Shayna Wayne with the low blow. This is retribution for my son. The Concerto probably does write Adam Copeland off for Revolution. So now you can have Christian come out, crow that he doesn't have anybody to face, and then you could bring somebody in to surprise him. Maybe that's someone in between now and I guess the front of the month of to start for the Revolution. I think that's the 2nd. So Big Business will be after that. So you wouldn't be able to do it that way. My guess is somehow either Daniel Garcia is going to get the match, or Christian comes out, says he has no opponents, and you surprise him with somebody that we haven't thought of.
I have BK versus MB here, and I was like, wait a minute. Brian Keith fought Malachi Black? That don't sound right. No. Brody King fought Mark Briscoe in an old school match. Did you like this?
Yeah. Mark Briscoe just is like the plucky underdog babyface against Brody King, who just feels like he is the guy in House of Black, which really confuses the fuck out of me at this point when you have Buddy Matthews and Malachi Black in that same faction, but neither here nor there. Nice, old school, like you said, banger-ass match. Brody King just is such a physical specimen. I mean, I'm not sure what we're going to do with Brody King in 2024, but it feels like they're keeping him on a simmering kind of a pattern to where, if you wanted to heat him up, you can do so. For me, like I said, I need Malachi Black in my life. I need Buddy Matthews in my life. I mean, you got 3 shows, 5-6 hours of programming. I mean, we can't fit them on either show. I mean, if they're on the way out, then, so be it. Then this is a null and void conversation. But if they're not, they need to be on TV more.
Deonna Purrazzo versus, I didn't write this down, but she goes over, and then Toni Storm comes right out and faces Queen Aminata.
Tony ain't shit.
Tony ain't shit. That movie that she had on Dynamite was
dude, I was
really
in
something.
Tears, boy. That motherfucker there.
Really something. She is. She's working, man. She is working.
No, easily the biggest women's star in AEW.
I mean, her versus Mercedes Moné is going to be something.
I was going to say Jamie Hayter was the match that I would kind of want to see myself, just because they have Stardom ties, and I think the match itself kind of fell a little fluky because Jamie Hayter wasn't healthy the first time around. That's when she dropped the title to Tony, and she hasn't been back since. That, to me, is a
when
logical
they bring in Mercedes Moné, they got to put her with Toni Storm.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying when Mercedes comes in, yes, those two motherfuckers will have to cross paths. Fair enough. For me, I would like to see Jamie Hayter and Toni Storm run it back. That's just me. But like you said, you were going to see Mercedes versus Toni Storm.
The main event of Collision was absolutely great. My favorite match of the week. Not including Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah.
But my favorite match on TV this week was Orange Cassidy versus Tomohiro Ishii in an absolute fucking banger. Ishii rules. If you're a fan of this show, if you listen to our G1 podcasts, you know that all 3 of us are massive Ishii marks. And Orange Cassidy, and this is when I put it on Friends of BFR on Facebook, right when this match was done. I said, man, Orange Cassidy is so good. He, in those bloody, just fucking brawl matches, he is so good in these. That's why he had that. I mean, him versus Jon Moxley, same type of match, just a fucking, like, a banger. I loved this match. Undisputed Kingdom comes out at the end. Trent Beretta comes out at the end also. And we're going to talk more about Undisputed Kingdom and Best Friends. But what do you think about this match?
I was curious to see how the new, and I use the word, put the word new in quotes, Orange Cassidy would face off against Ishii in this scenario. When I say new, it's, you still have the light task where, the crowd gets into it. It's like, oh, with the leg kicks or whatever. But then, this new Orange Cassidy picks up that aggression and really starts laying in the opponents, kind of the same way he did with Moxley. That's the Orange Cassidy I wanted to see against Tomohiro Ishii, and that's what we got. I thought this was a really good match. It was a great fucking main event. The fact that Orange Cassidy retains doesn't even bother me at this point. I knew he was going to retain. I just wanted to see a match where Tomohiro Ishii was going to fuck this motherfucker up and make him earn this dub. Man, and that's what happened.
It was also perfect because I was sitting here and the wife was gone. Baby goes down at like 8 o'clock. I get all settled in, pack the bowl, hit the bowl. It's that good part of the high, right when you're high and you're like, oh shit, I might be too high. It's like right there, wait a minute, did I just smoke acid? And then this match started, and I was just in the perfect headspace for it. Just one of those. And then I turned it on the fucking Warriors game, and Steph Curry hit that shot from the logo to fucking take the lead at the very end. I was going nuts. It was the most fun I've had in a year.
I was going to say that's the time where I hate working on Saturday nights because I'm sitting there watching it and I will finish Collision. I'm watching Sports Center afterwards. I'm like, man, that's some Saturday night shit for your ass. No, it's.
And then the wife came home. It was all ruined.
At some point she's coming home.
I was having so much fun watching basketball and NBA by myself, just munching a fucking metric fuck ton of ice cream. It was fucking
what
perfect,
ice cream
man.
you have?
So they got this kind. The brand is Turkey Hill, and Turkey Hill's always on sale. And I think it's always on sale because it's an ice cream brand with the word turkey in it. It's like nobody wants.
I've never even heard of
nobody
that
wants to
before.
think about turkey lunch meat when they're eating ice cream.
Yeah, this is a weird
So it's
combination.
always on sale, but it's good ice cream. And they got this. It's like Neapolitan, where it's 3 different flavors, but it's 3 different kinds of mint flavors. So it's like mint chocolate chip, mint cookies and cream, and then like mint dark chocolate.
Ooh.
And you just get a whole bunch of all of them.
Yeah,
fucking mix it around.
Yeah, okay, I can see me.
Incredible shit. I like my mint chocolate chip though.
I can fuck that motherfucker up. I can definitely see that shit.
Anyway, Saturday night was a lot of fun.
Thank
Thank you, Turkey Hill. Not a sponsor, but you guys can be.
We will take ice cream payments.
Send me the shit. All right, so moving on to Dynamite, Dax Hardwood fights Jon Moxley. Remember when Dax Hardwood used to have all sorts of singles matches there for a while?
Yeah.
This was a good reminder why. This was really cool.
You stole my thunder, and I think that's the reason why they put these guys together first to set up the tag team match that'll happen next week. Moxley not letting go of the submission kind of threw me a little bit, but they've been kind of teasing I won't say that they're heels, but they're not baby faces.
They're heels, man.
They don't.
They're winning with low blows and shit, man.
Okay,
they are heels.
Okay, completely fair. The crowd loves them. They're over, but they are heels. Okay, completely fair.
They are cool heels. It's tough for them to get booed completely just because people have so much fucking respect for Moxley, especially.
Well, yeah, and Claudio, I think, is he's a fucking physical freak. He could throw anybody around. Danielson obviously is the one of the best technical wrestlers in the world.
I mean, Claudio's downright dastardly now.
He put it. I don't know who.
He's cheap shotting dudes and giving them neutralizers out of nowhere and shit.
I'm all for it. I love Claudio like this. He is the muscle of BCC, and the muscle doesn't need to be taking favors or playing favorites or anybody like that. Anybody's in the way. The way he picked up who is it this week?
Cash Wheeler.
I mean, just picked him up like a little child and just put the neutralizer on him. I was like, oh, Jesus. I forget how strong Claudio is until he throws a grown man around him. It's like, oh, yeah, that dude's strong.
Don Callis cuts a promo backstage and announces that at Revolution, we're going to have 2 of the Don Callis family fight each other. It's going to be Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita.
Okay.
Don Callis all of a sudden thought he was in an AA meeting where he starts saying, when I was a kid, my dad used to get drunk and make us go fight our brothers in the background. It's like, man, this is kind of a sad confession from Don Callis. But it's he's going to have so Ospreay is fighting Takeshita at the pay-per-view. I mean, this is gonna fucking rule.
It's so Tony Khan right feel.
Cokehead booking.
Just in the sense of
Cokehead booking LLC.
Faction members usually don't wrestle each other. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you 100%.
In a tournament.
In a tournament, okay, fair enough. But this is not a tournament. There's no titles on the line. It's just, we're trying to keep guys sharp. Okay, so we're gonna put 2 of the best in the ring. It blows my mind where this even. I'm with you. This is going to be an amazing fucking match. I don't know if they've ever met before. I don't even give a fuck. At this point, they're 2 of the best that I can think of that you could throw in a ring and have a match with. Just the build doesn't make sense.
Well, there's no build.
Okay, the reasoning.
Don Callis just made the match.
Okay, the reasoning for Don Callis. You got this whole goddamn roster. Figure the fuck out. There's no reason in the world why you can't have a motherfucker face Takeshita and or Will Ospreay and keep the faction as a faction. Now, if Will Ospreay is going to, spin off and become a babyface, okay, fair enough. Now this makes sense. But then at least have him come over, have a little strife, and then do that shit. This is just so right field, but goddamn, I can't wait for this match. Yeah,
this match is going to rule. I would think that they're going to be turning Ospreay face in pretty quick order here, right?
Why would you? I mean, I don't see a reason. We just got finished talking about BCC being cool heels. Will Ospreay can be a cool heel if you want him to be a heel at that point. Just because Wembley's coming up doesn't mean he has to be a babyface. He's going to Wembley. They're going to cheer. Period.
Babyface and heels don't matter as much in AEW. Kind of like New Japan in that respect.
Fair.
Wardlow squashes somebody. Cole on commentary. Cole just doesn't say anything.
It was too quick.
It was pretty funny.
I'm like, damn, man, this motherfucker's over. I'm writing the match down and shit. I'm like, oh, it's over. Okay, never mind.
We already talked about Garcia versus Edge. I just want to reiterate that Nick Wayne was wearing a shirt that just said "Christian is my father."
God damn, dude, that's amazing. That's so good. AEW might get my money on that motherfucker. Drew McIntyre and with the CM Punk.
I'm supposed to go over to my dad's house and help him move some shit, and I would love to show up wearing that shirt.
Oh, dude. You ain't shit. He's like, who the fuck is Christian?
I'll be like, it's not as cold out here as I thought it was, and then I take off my jacket.
So get the fuck out of my house.
Samoa Joe comes out and cuts a promo. Swerve comes in. Paige comes in. Joe's not happy about this being a triple threat. He goes all of a sudden. He goes
salty.
He said it got stupider, which is really, really good. Swerve comes in. Gets thrown off. I'll tell you what, he got heckled, and he got a little thrown off there in the second.
At the beginning of his promo, yeah. What did the dude? I didn't even hear what was said.
Swerve was saying, he was telling the story about what Samoa Joe told him, and he goes, and you know what he said? And you know what he said? And the guy goes, what'd he say? And everybody started laughing, and it threw Swerve off.
Okay, I was about to say, I didn't hear it, but yeah, it took him a minute to get it back on track.
Didn't throw Joe off. Joe just fucking stared at him.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even blink. I was just like, I rewound it 3 times. Like, I still didn't hear this shit. I'm like, fuck. But credit to Joe. Never even faced him. That nigga looked pissed.
And Paige comes out kind of squirrely.
I'm going to ask a question, and obviously, I don't know if I've asked this before, but last week I wasn't here. This week, obviously, I'm back, and I had the same question I had last week. Are we getting a double heel turn? Or a double turn?
Like Paige, Swerve and
Paige is turning heel while Swerve is turning face?
Are we in the midst of one?
Yes.
I think we're in the midst of one, yes.
I'm thinking so, too.
I don't think there's going to be one thing that does it. I think that that's just what's happening.
Whether it's the storyline is dictating it, fans are just gravitating towards Swerve because everybody is. But baby faces don't turn down an extra 5 minutes for a match that determines a number 1 contendership.
No, yes. You're absolutely
correct.
He
still keeps bringing that shit up. Okay? That, to me, is what a heel would do.
Yeah, he came out and he said, I need to clear up some stuff about last week.
I was like, uh-oh.
Pretty funny.
No, I love it, though. Hangman, to me, I agree with Zach. Hangman is one of the better wrestlers.
Then he explained it. It still didn't make any sense.
I was just like,
dude, no, you're not getting out of this.
It's like, dude, shouldn't you want the dub? He's beaten you twice. He beat you in a match that you should have won. And now you're just like, oh, I'm good with the draw. Fuck you. You're not going to ever win the title.
His stone buddy ate your wife's blueberries, dude.
And was licking his fingers. And you still bringing that bullshit up? You don't want to beat this man? I love the fact
tearing up kids' drawings and shit.
Okay, kicking skillets like it ain't shit.
Taking over skillets.
That's still one of my favorite promos of the year last year. You shouldn't want a draw. You should want the dub. You should want that extra 5 minutes. The fact that he doesn't and he's bringing it up the soul. I don't even know the fact that he really wants to win the title as much as he wants Swerve not to win it. That's what heels do.
No, he is taking the pin in that match one way or another.
Yeah, whoever is going to come out as a champion, Paige is going to eat the pin.
Tony Storm has this video that is just fucking
Nigga.
I mean, like, legitimately.
I'm sitting there watching this shit. I'm like, it's rare when I don't say anything. I watch this in complete awed silence. So fucking good.
I mean, it's legitimately bizarre.
I know. And
it is fucking weird.
That's this whole Tony Storm run where it's time with Tony Storm. You just don't know.
Weirder.
I know. And this was just as weird.
It's gonna get weirder.
You got Luther, putting the coat over her face, toes curling up, her facial expressions. And then the end when they showed the new tattoo, I was like, perfect. Right. This ultimately is going to help this match because this is one of the few matches I'm not looking forward to because I think ultimately Tony Storm is going to retain. I just hope that Deanna just looks good in the process.
Okay, we got to talk about this next part. So the Young Bucks face Top Flight. Young Bucks are still wearing the white suits with the dried blood on it. The dried blood is now brown, so I have to think that is actually the same suits.
I would be surprised if it's not.
They are wrestling in these suits.
Yes. Trifling.
And they're wrestling Top Flight in a pretty good match. Right? They do the EVP trigger. Well, first of all, there's one point where Matt Jackson says these guys are really good after he takes them out.
I'm so proud of you. Good job. Good job.
Oh, I knew. Yeah, I knew. I could see his hairline. But then they cut an evil promo. Tony Schiavone gets up there. They fine him $1,000. Tony Schiavone kind of gets down on his knees and they get ready. They like give the look and they're like, oh, we're gonna give him the EVP trigger.
Like,
and Darby Allin comes in. Darby Allin comes down and makes the save. Darby Allin cuts a promo that,
I said scathing on Twitter.
Yeah, it was a scathing promo. I don't know if it's the promo that should have come after they beat up the old man and his kids the week before. I probably would have included something about that. But he cuts a work shoot promo basically on the Young Bucks about how they only hired their friends and Brandon Cutler catching shrapnel.
He's somewhere doing some production.
He was probably backstage. Darby Allin says they only hired their friends, said they only stuck around because the money was good and the travel was light. Said that they didn't want him. Like Darby Allin was such a slam dunk, but they didn't like him. It's like, but anyway, what do you think about the Darby Allin promo?
Ouch. It's like, okay, he's getting a little heated. I love the promo, honestly. It just gives more reason for fans that don't like the Bucks. Here's more of a reason not to like the Bucks. For those who are like me that like the Bucks, but I shouldn't say but like the Bucks and like the fact that they're heels, this is, reinforcing the reason why I want them to continue to be heels. So for me, this is all a build towards the eventual Revolution tag team match. I would assume the Bucks would win, but I don't know anymore. This promo is so good that I would almost want to see Sting and Darby win this match and have Sting ride off into the sunset. You would have a vacant tag team championship you figured out from that point. Part of me wants to see that. A part of me just knows that that's just not the right thing to do. Bucks as the heel tag team champions would be a nice way to start off 2024 on a tag team division that's been kind of lacking as of late.
This is the best version of Darby Allin. Cocky, pissed off Darby Allin. I like a cocky Darby Allin.
No, look, the fact that he said what he said was I didn't see it coming, so I love the fact that it was a surprise. But B, it nailed on the fact, like I said, these ain't your, what's the song they came out to when them and
Carry on my wayward son.
Okay, that ain't them no more.
No.
Those guys are gone. These guys are here. They are assholes. They were getting ready to take out Tony. I was just like, damn, you getting ready to trigger Tony Schiavone? How you gonna do this shit? I love it. I love the whole segment. There's nothing wrong with it. The fact that Sting wasn't even there didn't even bother me. Just about to say Darby carried the weight of two guys in that segment.
Bang Bang Scissor Gang do a backstage thing. I mean, these guys sound like the first 3 minutes of a Band from Ringside episode. It's just bit after bit after bit after bit after bit after bit.
Everybody's getting their shit in.
Everybody's saying their fucking catchphrases and doing their little fucking things. Bones has got to squeeze in that everybody loves the Acclaim. It's like, dude, there's nobody around. You got to scream like that, man.
Poor Austin's getting shitted on. He's like, hey, I got a good idea. Then Billy's like,
guns up.
No, he's
Scissor
like,
me
no.
daddy.
He's like, no, I got a good idea. A 12-man tag team. You know, I used to do this to him. I was like, oh, God. I don't want to see a 12-man tag team.
Bit after bit.
6 is good
Everybody's
enough.
doing their bits.
Take 2 of the fucking Acclaim and 1 from the Gold Club, Bullet Club Gold. Run them out. There's a 6-man tag. I do not want to see all 12 of these motherfuckers in a match. It does not appeal to me in the slightest. I'm having a hard enough time accepting this as a faction, and now you run off and do this shit? Nah, hard pass.
Willow Nightingale beats Sky Blue. Listen, I watch these two on television a few segments every single week. They've been part of my life for a few months. I can't tell you what the story is here.
I don't know if there really is a story.
Is Sky Blue hypnotized by Julia Hart? Were her and Willow Nightingale really that tight? I don't understand what's going on here.
Honestly, I think it's more about Stokely interfering at the end and Willow not seeing this shit. So that to me is the whole reason that I even tripped off of this match. The match itself was fine. Nothing big. Sky Blue's, slowly, working my way to where now I'm appreciating her past the fat ass. That's a good thing. But to me, the whole moral of the story is Stokely interfered, Willow didn't see it, and then takes advantage of it for the dub.
Can we talk about Matt Taven?
Of course. I love Matt Taven.
All right. So Matt Taven, Ring of Honor heavyweight champion at one time.
Yep.
A guy that's been in AEW for a while and has not done shit really except for, wear a mask and beat guys up and then kind of be part of Roddy Strong's comedy act. Easy to forget. Oh, Matt Taven can fucking go, dude. Matt Taven fights Orange Cassidy in the main event of AEW Dynamite. Orange Cassidy with 2 main events in the same week, both fucking bangers. The guy is out there and he's doing the damn thing. What did you think about this?
I didn't even know it was a Texas death match until I started watching. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, how do we, elevate to a Texas death match? Whatever. I'm here for it. Let them fucking fight. And it started off slow, so I'm like, now I'm really getting pissed. Like, there's no reason for it. And then all of a sudden, Orange got busted open. I'm like, oh, now we got this motherfucker going on. And then from that point,
it got real busted open.
Yeah, I didn't even realize how bad it was until the end where I saw, the side of his face. It's like, oh, shit, yeah, you get some stitches.
Matt Taven just doing suicide dives in the tables.
Head first.
Nobody to catch him. Doesn't even care.
Nope. God bless him. I'm like, man.
I'm just going to jump into this shit.
You knew OC was getting ready to move. I was like, dude, don't do. Never mind. You going in.
He jumped from really far away.
Oh, yeah. He didn't really put his hands out either. He was just kind of like, his hands were forward, but it wasn't like to brace his shit. It was just because, this is what you do and you die. You die with your hands forward. He hit that motherfucker tough. It was a way better match than I thought it was, even with the predictable.
He basically speared it.
Match. Yeah, he speared himself into the fucking table. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is
from
wrong
outside
with
the
you?
ring?
Yeah, all right, y'all. I mean, this match don't mean much, but yeah, go ahead, knock yourselves out. Way better than I thought. Matt Taven should have been utilized a little better, just in the sense of him and Mike Bennett, more so Matt Taven, obviously. You could have used them better in the build to having them become part of the Undisputed Kingdom. It's neither here nor there. I would like to see Taven get a run singles-wise. If he does it, it's not the end of the world. AEW's fucking loaded. There's plenty of guys that's going to be able to fill that role. But for this one rollout match, Matt Taven reminded me how good he can be.
Yeah, let's see him wrestle some more. That's going to do it for our 2 count.
1, 2, 3.
So, Jason, I'll leave it up to you for the 3 count, but let's talk about New Japan. But how do you want to talk about it? Do you want to just talk about the big matches?
Yeah, we're just talking about the big matches. That's fine.
Because I watched a lot of it, but I didn't pay attention to very much. I paid attention to Okada Tanahashi. I paid attention to ZSJ versus Bryan Danielson, of course.
Of course.
And I paid attention for the whole hour and 4 minutes of the 5-on-5 match.
Jesus Christ.
Those are the three big ones as I see them.
No, that's fine. We can talk about that. I was going to say the tag team titles changed hands, but...
Oh, there was that too. Yes.
Yeah, that kind of so more so to my point. God bless Kenta. God bless Chase Owens. Just not who I want to see as tag team champions.
No, I was shocked.
Yes, and I shouldn't have been because that was Bullet Club fuckery at its finest. But like I said, TMDK should have been champs, and if they're not champs at this point, at some point this year, I'm going to be pissed
Chase
off.
Owens and Kenta.
Yep.
What the fuck,
That's
man?
what I said. I'm like, you got to be bullshit. So let's get this shit straight. These two motherfuckers have won the titles, and TMDK can't win shit. They've lost twice for the tag team titles and once for the never six-man titles. Fuck you guys. Fuck Gato. You pissing me off, nigga.
Well, okay, let's start with Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. Zack Sabre Jr. ends up going over. Did you enjoy this match more than their Wrestle Dream match?
Yeah. Yeah.
Me too.
It's not a knock against the Wrestle Dream match. I think that was a really great match there, too. But they both tell...
Fight forever.
They tell two different stories. This match was more so of ZSJ getting his receipt, doing it in a way where he out-wrestled Daniel Bryan, and that's words I don't think you can ever say. I didn't think I ever would say, but the crucifix finish, you just got out-wrestled, flat out. You know, I would love to see the submission. That's what, personally I'd rather see, but the fact that he won is a good first positive step for Zack Sabre in the New Japan world. This was one of the first 5-star matches and probably one of the matches of the year so far, at least across the board. I don't care, what corporation it is, what promotion it is. You can pull this motherfucker on and it will hold up against anything.
There have been some incredible matches already this year. We are midway through February. Probably 4 or 5 match of the year candidates.
Sure.
I mean, that you could name right now. This is on that short list or long list, however you want to see it.
No, it's a short list. This is one I think is going to be talked about.
I'm just saying it's a long list for it being the middle of February, but it is on the short list of match of the year thus far.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I don't even know what to say. It was exactly what you expected, and I expected a lot.
No, I had high expectations for this shit. I was going to say, otherwise I would be lying. I didn't have the same expectations for Tanahashi and Okada, and then all of a sudden Tanahashi decided he wanted to dial the clock back and look like he was 4 or 5 years ago, and he's doing high fly flows from the inside out. I'm just like, oh shit, okay, here we go. The only thing I had a problem with it is just Okada winning on the way out. I mean, I like Okada. Dare I say I love the motherfucker. Arguably one of the best wrestlers in the world. I don't like the fact that he decided, and that's the rumor that I'm hearing or I've read or whatever the case may be, that he decided that he was not going to lose on the way out. I'm not necessarily a big fan of that if that's what happened. Certain times you're just going to have to take the L. This was a perfect time to do it. It's Tanahashi. We're not asking for him to take the fall to Fujita or Uemura. It's Tanahashi. Damn. You can go ahead and take a 3 counts at Tanahashi and everybody walks away happy. Neither here nor there. It's not a huge deal. I'm not sure how Zack Sabre Jr. is going to get a hold of Okada before he walks out the door, because that's Zack Sabre Jr.'s mission before Okada leaves. I'm not sure that happens. I will say, though, if he being Okada goes to AEW, that still keeps the door open to where Okada can come back and challenge Zack Sabre Jr. when Zack Sabre Jr. wins the IWGP Championship.
I loved in the Zack Sabre Jr. Daniel Bryan match how petty both those assholes seemed to each other.
Dude.
Just fucking...
They kicked the shit out of each other a couple of times. I was like, oh.
Yeah, in the face. They were just laying there kicking each other in the face.
He's like, come on.
Smacking each other and shit.
I'm just like, stop.
Okada Tanahashi, I didn't, Tanahashi can certainly take that loss. It doesn't matter.
It's not the end. He's Okada, the fucking president.
Right.
Of course it's
Okada, well, I'm losing to there's no shame in losing to Okada. No. Everybody loses to Okada except for Jonah. And it wasn't the match that I wanted to see. I'd rather see Okada versus Uemura if Okada's going to win anyway. I don't know. I don't want to see fucking Tanahashi versus Okada. We've seen it a million times.
It was literally like, the day before, it was at 2/11, so it was the next day was like the anniversary of Okada beating Tanahashi. So in that scenario, I get it.
That's me jerking off.
I get the symmetry of it. Did I want to see that match? No. Other matches, I want to see Okada, before he leaves for New Japan for a little bit. I would assume he's coming back. His reaction post-match just makes me feel like at some point he'll be back, especially if he's going to sign with AEW. That door will always be open. I thought even if he signed with WWE, at some point, if he wanted to come back, it would be a Nakamura type of thing. I mean, you could come over for one night, have a match, come back, everybody walks away happy.
The main event that I saw, because I only watched the one. I didn't know that there were 3 or 2 or whatever, but it was 5-on-5. It was basically a War Games match with only one ring, and that's fair to say, right?
Yes.
And it was United Empire versus Bullet Club. Bullet Club ends up dismantling the United Empire until it's just Will Ospreay left. They beat the shit out of Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay takes the loss with all 5 Bullet Club standing around him. Waits about 3 minutes and then cuts a 5-minute promo, but I mean that's neither here nor there. Like,
hey man,
he didn't sell it for that long.
Hey man, look, that's New Japan's theater at its finest right there, man. Shit.
Still, this match was an hour and 4 minutes long. That is a long time.
Yeah.
And thank God I had other stuff to do while I was watching it, because god damn, that is a long fucking match. I had no idea. I thought I was settling in for a regular 30-minute War Games match. And that shit kept going, and I was like, what the fuck is happening?
When they started tearing up the ring, I was like, okay, we're taking this into
There
a
were
place.
still 15 minutes left after that.
I was like, we're taking this to a place
Maybe
I did not even. No, it was a good solid 15 minutes after that. Easily. Because I'm sitting there watching this shit. I'm like, no way. Coughlin fell through the ring.
Yeah.
And then somebody else damn near fell through it first. I think it was Gabe Kidd or somebody like that. That's when it was starting.
Unprotected headshots everywhere.
Hanari, God bless that dude. Gabe Kidd, God bless that dude.
Hanari bleeding all over the place. Comes back in with his face bandaged up like a mummy.
I was like, he looked like a goddamn mummy.
They were really selling it, too. Dude. I thought they did a great job. I'm talking about the announcers,
Walker Stewart and Chris Charlton.
Yes, they did a great job of selling that Hanari was actually hurt. And I was like, they're like, they're doing concussion protocol on him and shit. They're just selling the fucking shit out of it. Oh, he's got the best doctors in the city. They're helping him out and everything. And then he comes back in with his face wrapped up and still takes a beating.
I'm like, dude, stop.
They still kick the shit out of him.
I mean, beat him like he stole something.
It wasn't like he came back like Willis Reed and won the game. Nope. He fucking got the shit smacked out of him.
Not even close. That boy caught that work. I'm like, man, y'all need to stop. Leave Hanari alone. You got Jeff Cobb and Callum Newman over here handcuffed to the post. Whoop on these motherfuckers for a little bit.
Will Ospreay takes the pin, or the final pin. And I would say that the standout, if there was somebody that stood out to me as really fun in this match, besides Gabe Kidd, but Gabe Kidd, I was expecting it. Those unprotected headshots are just like, guys, you guys don't have to do this shit.
I really hope those are rigged chairs. I'll say that and leave it.
I mean, the one did just kind of pop off, and I was like, okay, that's a rigged chair. But they didn't look rigged for those first couple.
No.
But Gabe Kidd's a lot of fun. I thought that Akira was fucking awesome in the match. I really loved him.
The story being told, it was hard not to root for Francisco Akira. He was basically getting bullied. War Dogs were, basically punking him out with fucking forks and shit. So now, when he came into the ring and he came off the top rope, or not even the top rope, the top of the cage, I was like, okay, now Francisco Akira is having his, redemption moment. Ultimately, that fell through too as well. So it's going to be interesting just to see how United Empire does moving forward, if there is going to be a United Empire, because obviously Will Ospreay is moving to AEW. If there is, who's the leader of United Empire? Because obviously, once again, Will Ospreay's gone, so somebody's going to have to step up to the void. And then obviously, the big winners of this is the Bullet Club, establishing them as one of the strong heel factions in New Japan. David Finlay getting the pin on Will Ospreay only helps him towards the build with one Nick Nemeth coming up. I believe that's on the 23rd of this month for the Global Heavyweight Championship. So, I mean, it took an hour to get there. And it just got sketchy at certain points. But I liked this match. I liked it a lot.
Let's be real. This was a snooze fest.
I liked it.
Would you consider yourself enthralled by it? Were you interested the entire time? Did you ever look at your phone? How many times did you look at your phone?
I didn't look at my phone, but I did.
You didn't look at your phone through an hour and 4-minute match?
I did have to get up and stretch my legs. I was like, okay, this is taking longer than I had anticipated.
You could have taken a shower. It could have been
an hour shower? Jesus
No,
Christ.
just a regular shower. You still got fucking 50 minutes.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, I could have did all my shit, got ready for work, and then in that time frame. I can understand how people are saying this is a way longer match. Brett agrees with you, said it was too long. Totally get it.
Oh, he did? Nice.
Yeah. But for me, this was a match.
I liked him.
And that's why I'm going to never make sure you guys ever meet. This was a match that told two different stories. It closes the Will Ospreay story for the moment. Like I said, he and Okada, I'm sure, come back at a certain point. But more so importantly, this makes, the Bullet Club it feels like that heel faction of New Japan. They just basically demolished United Empire, and it shouldn't have been easy. It should have took an hour. So I ain't got no problem with that.
It's a memorable way for Will Ospreay to go out.
Oh yeah, I will not forget this shit.
There's no doubt about that. He gave a very impassioned promo at the end. Said he will be back. Said he thanked the people of Japan for their love and support. Reiterated that he will be back, which I thought was a nice touch. He seemed really genuine in that moment.
Him and Okada showed way more emotion. Okada more so because,
Okada cried.
Several times.
I thought he was a sociopath.
Yeah,
I was like, that dude's crying.
You don't see him have that emotion. And to see
he's
it
a
happen.
Fucking robot.
Yeah, he's the Terminator of New Japan at that point. To see him just break down multiple times was just weird to see. He almost got me breaking down at some point. So, it's going to be weird to see Okada not be there. It's going to be weird to see.
Did you cry?
I cried for Will Ospreay. I didn't cry for Okada. Ospreay just seemed to touch me a little more.
I didn't cry.
I don't expect you to. Will Ospreay, I think, is arguably one of the best wrestlers in the world. And the fact that he's leaving one of my favorite promotions to go to AEW bothers me a little bit. So the fact that he said that he will be back makes me feel happy. And I've gotten the chance to watch a good chunk of the back part of his New Japan career, which I have a connection, an affinity to him, if you will. So obviously I'll be rooting for him moving forward. The words he said struck me. I did shed a tear. I'd be lying if I said otherwise.
It has been, the last few years have been the era of Will Ospreay over there.
The last 18 months, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, firing on all cylinders, having...
And then Takeshita's his first match in AEW. Get the fuck out of here! God damn.
All sorts of match of the year candidates. As far as
don't take it easy coming in here.
If the beefers are concerned, yeah, him versus Takeshita is going to be on fire. Anything else from this New Beginnings that you want to touch on?
Hair versus hair. Yoramura versus Yota Tsuji. I believe that is the 24th. That's somebody's hair is going to be shaved. If I had to take a guess. I'm guessing it's going to be Tsuji that's going to get the head shaved.
No fucking way.
Look.
Are they going to shave that beautiful man's head of hair?
But they both got beautiful hair. Shit, I was about to say, I'm mad for both of them at this point.
Tsuji is just, no way. They're shaving them locks.
Good.
That fucking mane.
Good. I think that's the reason. It would be more so of a
That'd be a real
factor.
shame. Oh, that would be a real shame.
Well, we see them both shaved. It's not like it's going to be something unusual. It's just been a while, and to me, when I was thinking about it, which would be more shocking to see someone get their hair cut, I'm a huge Tsuji fan. To see him lose his hair, I would just be literally speechless as they were cutting his shit.
Yeah, Yoda Tsuji's the man. Don't cut that hair off.
He basically called out Naito, basically saying that at some point, if you're the champion, I'm going to have to get you the title off you to do what I want to do. So, little friction in LIJ. I don't mind that because ultimately, Naito ain't going to be around and Yoda Tsuji is. So, if you're going to put the title on it, you might as well take it off Naito to do it.
All right, that's going to do it for our 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
All right, so we can touch on some NXT stuff before we get out of here. You know what? Do you know what Obafemi marks are called?
No.
Obafeminists.
Jesus fucking Christ. I cannot believe I walked into that. That bothers me that I literally walked into that.
You didn't walk. I just heard it on Twitter.
You didn't make that up?
No, I didn't make that up. I heard somebody say Obafeminist, and I'm like, that's good. Just like Homo sapien.
Both are funny, but just what you said it, I was just like, damn it, I should have seen that shit coming. Obafemi is a fucking just goddamn. I don't know if it's even possible to fumble Obafemi. He is off to an amazing start. Dragon Lee obviously was a good match on Vengeance Day. Lexis King is intriguing because I just assumed that Obafemi was going to be a heel the way that he started off with Dragon Lee. But now, Lexis King is out there. Easy to hate on Lexis King.
Lexis King. The Nia Jax of NXT.
Yeah, he can't go no place.
The Wolf Dogs are your new NXT Tag Team Champions. They
won it clean.
They beat the family clean. Fucking really good match. What'd you think of it?
No, it was a really good match. I like Corbin and Braun's chemistry together. The fact that they even got to the final, I was just like, wow. Weeks ago, you'd have never thought they could even be on the same page, much less be tag team champions. So it's the odd couple wins out. I thought this match was really good. Tony D'Angelo, I thought, really stood out in certain points, being, the strong guy throwing Braun around. He's got a bright future at some point if he goes back to singles. But I'm going to say it, the right team went over. Even if it's for a short turn, hot shot, moment. Braun's now gotten all the titles, I believe, at this point. I'm pretty sure he won the North American title. Obviously, the NXT Championship rounds it out for him. But Baron Corbin has done really good work coming back to NXT. So, yeah, put the gold on. I didn't know he was 6 years without a title. Jesus.
You know what's a really cool name for a stable? The No Quarter Catch Crew.
Not a huge fan.
You don't like that name?
Not a huge fan.
Too hard to say?
No, I can say it. It's just...
I'm not saying you can't say it. I'm just saying is it too much of a mouthful?
I need you to be no quarter about your shit then. Stop talking about it. Be about it. You got really good... Charlie Dempsey, really good. Drew Gulak, really good. Damon Kemp, he's okay. I don't see enough of him to really get all excited about him. You got good guys that can go, but you don't have them wrestling. I don't mind the name. Just
what about the name Metaphor? You like that?
That's just funny.
That's really good.
That's just funny. They are funny. Noam Dar is somebody that is so underrated just as a comedic presence. When they were back, when No Catch Quarter Crew was backstage and they were, fawning over the Heritage Cup. Noam Dar just came back there and was like, get away from my shit. I can't remember what he said, but it was so, his comic timing is so good. And Metaphor plays a nice supporting cast around him. Lash Legend, I think, is stepping up her game. I think she's a future star in the making. Metaphor is a good heel faction, and they're entertaining on top of it.
Carmelo Hayes fights Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy loses, of course. Dijak comes out and puts Joe Gacy in a straitjacket. I'm completely cool with Dijak getting something to do. Obviously, frenemy of the show. And I think that he is underused. Are they making Joe Gacy a fucking babyface? What kind of sense is that?
I don't know. No, at this point, I'm kind of over Joe Gacy. I think this is Where was the straight jacket at Vengeance Day? But whatever.
It was caught up in the mail.
Yeah, clearly.
He doesn't pay for Amazon Prime.
I was about to say, use mine. It'll get here in 2 days.
You're going to give Diamond Dijak your Amazon Prime membership?
He's friended me to the show. I mean,
that's a good point.
No, anyway, this was fine. I like the Carmelo Joe Gacy match. Joe Gacy can work. It just this gimmick that he's been saddled with. It's kind of like the dyad when they were grizzled young veterans and they became the dyad in NXT. That never worked, and now I've seen them in Impact the last couple weeks, and they're the team that I liked before they got to NXT. Maybe this is the same thing with Joe Gacy, at least for me.
But the only other thing I want to say about NXT, and that we've probably been remiss in not mentioning it the last couple of weeks, is my favorite thing about Andre Chase is that as he gets broker and broker, his hair gets worse and worse. And it's just like hanging in front of his eyes.
Your boy was doing.
He's all unkempt and shit. That's really good stuff.
Your boy was going through that Baron Corbin phase. He was all unkempt. Just, the shirt was out, the hair was undone. Watching that ride and now watching it come back to where JC Jane has saved Andre Chase U. It's a fun ride. I was waiting to see how JC Jane gets caught up. She can't be this great forever. Something has to happen to where there's a little controversy that comes around her again. But it's now that Carmelo and Trick is on the side for the moment, Chase U is a nice little angle for me to watch.
All right, that'll be it for our odds and ends.
Man from Ringside.
Hey, everybody, we got some birthdays this week. Anything else from odds and ends that I'm missing? Anything else from odds and ends that I'm missing? I think that's it. That's really something really funny just happened.
Yeah, right.
No. Hey, everybody, we got some birthdays this week. Rich Swann is 33. Gangrel.
He's alive.
55. Big John Studd.
Definitely dead.
76. Sean Spears, a.k.a. Ty Dillinger, is 43. Jack Gallagher, remember him?
Yeah, I was going to say he got me too.
Yeah, he got me too. 34. Gail Kim is 47. Killian Dane, hope he's doing well. 39. Brodus Clay, 51 years young. Got a lot of run left in him. 4 years eligibility. Motherfucker's got a lot of championships in front of him.
No, see, you lucky he got that one, okay? Let's not push it and act like he going to win another World Heavyweight Championship anytime soon.
And finally, this one blew me away. Carlito is my age. Carlito is 45 years old. What the fuck is that about, man?
Wow.
That means he was really young in his first run.
Yeah, I was going to say
young.
Early 20s young.
Yeah, so he's 45, so happy birthday to all those.
Rabbit Fever.
Hey, everybody, we know there's tons of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. For my wife, Erin. For all my pets and beautiful daughter inside. For Vice. For Tinder Mahal. For Lucha Chris. For Murray the Murray Man. Murray. For Patriot Pat. For Brett Jagger. For, did I say Tinder Mahal?
Yes.
For 3 Beer Zach Pullman. We'll see you next week. For Jason Cornelius Bell. I am Bill Vagey. Black Lives Matter. Support your local weed dealer. Support your local restaurant. Call your parents. And never ever forget to boo the heels.
Ooh, bitch.